I present to some and introduce to others Mr. Abdullah Skerritt.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, President Carol Barrett, and the entire executive and board of the Georgia Caribbean American Coalition, good evening. Allow me please to adopt the protocol that has already been established. Since I was strictly admonished to be brief, I have brought up only one of the four folders that I had prepared for the speech. It is indeed a distinct honor to be afforded the opportunity to address this distinguished gathering to celebrate the Georgia Caribbean American Heritage Society's 8th annual recognition of Caribbean Heritage Month. As I express my appreciation for your honoring the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis on attaining 30 years of independence this year, allow me also to congratulate the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for celebrating 40 years of nationhood this year as well. Indeed, whereas 3 and 4 decades may seem very insignificant in the broader scale of international historical record keeping, these are major achievements for us, especially as small island developing states, or SIDS as they are referred to in some cases, that face tremendous financial challenges, cultural influences, not all positive, and political attempts at political instability at times. But we are proud to have attained 4 and 3 decades of independence. A significant challenge that our two nations share is that of cultivating and nurturing sustainable tourism industries. In the wake of the global economic turndown or downturn from which we are just recovering, there are extreme challenges. I will not presume to be able to speak for our brothers and sisters from the Bahamas, so from here on I will restrict my comments to St. Kitts and Nevis, although there might still be some measure of universal applicability throughout, given the commonalities that I alluded to before. Around 2005, St. Kitts and Nevis, I should say, made a dramatic shift from being a monocultural economy based on sugar to a more diverse economy in which tourism is the key factor. After reaping a crop of sugar every year for 400 years about, all of a sudden, the factory went silent. Since then, we have put tremendous resources in developing the tourism industry in a sustainable manner, while attempting to minimize the carbon footprint, which is detrimental to our environment. With regard to tourism, what a big skip I just made. St. Kitts is developing it on 2 fronts. We are growing steadily in the cruise sector, and in fact, over the past 6 years, also, we moved from 117,000 cruise visitors in the year 2006 to about 629 in the 2011-2012 season. We are proud of that achievement because it represents an increase of 400% compared to an overall increase of 13% in the wider Caribbean. So we are very proud of that. And we are proud of the fact that St. Kitts and Nevis has been ranked #2 in visitor satisfaction in the cruise industry. Of course, our goal is to graduate to #1. But what does this all mean to the man on the street? In real terms, what does it really mean? It means that, well, for instance, the average spend on the ground from the cruise visitors in St. Kitts has doubled in the past 6 years. And that is great. It has doubled at a time when, in the overall Caribbean, the average spend has declined by 2%. The overall spend now, back in 2006 was about $57. Today, it's about $104 per visitor. So we see there is a distinct economic impact of about $70 million, which means we can afford more taxi operators, etc. So it does affect the man on the streets. We also have increased airlift and a lot of the hotel projects being developed. But why does all of this matter to you in the diaspora anyway? I can go with a lot of figures and numbers and statistics, but why does it matter? How does the diaspora fit into this scheme of things? Truth be told, most of us, when we come here, we continue to hold our native lands at heart, and we want to see progress. Indeed, this great gathering attests to that. It shows that we identify, and we want it to be seen that we identify with our land, our culture, our people. We want to represent. Interestingly, representation is not something that is lacking in the United States for us. We are represented at the highest levels in this country. And the representatives that we send from home, we call them what? Ambassadors. What I would like to propose today, though, is that we all take up the mantle and we all become ambassadors of our country. Let us make it our bounden duty to truly represent our country in a positive light wherever and whenever we can. When we boast, let us boast factually and with authority. But to do this, we need to be informed. And that is why what happens on the ground matters here. When there's negative information circulating, as may be the case from time to time, let us be willing to be able to affect damage control. I'm not suggesting anything dishonest or disingenuous, but let us be forward enough to offset negative stories with positive ones. Let us do that at all times and in all places because there are positive stories to be told. As ambassadors of St. Kitts and Nevis, we must present a united front all the time. I hesitate to use a cliche, but it is true to assert that there is more that unites us than divides us. And in a democratic society, as we are, we support different parties. But the strangers out here whom we want to attract to our shows, they don't care. They just want to know how they can have a nice time when they come to visit us. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. That's what they're really concerned about. So we must know and be willing to say that out of a nation that is 105 square miles with a population of 50,000, we have produced 5 people on the West Indies cricket team to play cricket at the highest international level. Yes. And we have already produced a gold medalist in the World Championship 100-meter sprint. We must know that as the smallest nation in the Western Hemisphere, we have a heritage site, a world heritage site, I should say, of hemispheric proportions in Brimstone Hill Fortress, designated by UNESCO. We must be able to say that we have rainforests and volcanoes to explore. We have historic curiosities like the house in which Sir Alexander Hamilton, a United States statesman, was born. We have the estate on which Thomas Jefferson's grandfather lived and died, whom is nearby, you can visit that. We have exciting things like scuba diving and skydiving and zip lining, and we must be able to say all of these things. We must be able to tell our story. We must be able to boast that we are 98% literate. We want to know these things, and we must say these things. Americans. We are in America. But Americans do not go aboard and be Georgians and Marylanders. Americans are Americans aboard. They represent one country. In the same way, petitions and divisions. Let us be kitty visions. As ambassadors, let us represent one nation, because there is no such nation as St. Kitts. And there is no such nation as Nevis. We must represent the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis at all times and in all places when we go out.
That's right.
This is our patriotic duty. This is our moral imperative. If we have learned anything from 30 years of independence, let it be this. We are one nation. We are the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So, because of the fact that we are who we are, because of the fact that there's no denying who we are, because of the fact that we are proud of who we are, we need to know what is taking place at home. That is why it is important in the diaspora. We must recognize that if we are to maintain and sustain our vital tourist industry, the business of tourism must be the business of all of us, each and every one of us. We have a story to tell. And in the diaspora, we must be properly informed so that we can indeed tell the story and tell it well. As ambassadors, let us tell the story of this land of beauty, our country where peace abounds. God bless all of you here. God bless the United States of America where so many of our nationals live. God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.